Good morning, folks. Wanted to get started with the 10th session of Training Tuesdays from SkyBitz. My name is Sarah Deitch, and I'm a Customer Success Manager here with SkyBitz. And on behalf of myself and our entire team, we'd like to welcome you. Weeks 1 through 9 of Training Tuesdays are available in a few places. If you are logged into Insight, you will be able to find us in the help section under Training Tuesdays videos, and I will be showing you that at the end of the session after we go over the content. And we also have a YouTube channel. I just wanted to hype up our YouTube channel a little bit each week. We have gotten some new subscribers via Training Tuesdays, so thank you to anyone who has subscribed to the SkyBitz YouTube channel. If you have not, please go to YouTube, go to SkyBitz. You will see our logo and just subscribe to the channel. The channel contains the Training Tuesdays videos, and it also contains content that is not only about the fleets division, but our tank division as well. So we have a ton of information on there about your business or some interesting facts about SkyBitz that you don't know. So give us a subscribe, hit the subscribe button, and help us get that number up higher. So thank you so much for that. And I want to thank everyone for attending. This is, again, week 10 of the Training Tuesdays, and we've had many different topics up to this point. This week we are going to talk about trailer pools. And we're hoping that these 1-hour sessions will improve your levels of understanding within the Insight tool in order to bolster your confidence in using our best-in-class user interface to its fullest potential. So one of the topics that we covered last week was yard checks, and this week is trailer pools. And they're both sections of the website that we think people should definitely go to and utilize. So that's why we're trying to inform you and educate you on how to use those sections, set them up, and then kind of let them automate, do the work for you. A few housekeeping items before we dive in. Today I'm going to be using a few PowerPoint slides to aid in my presentation. Generally, I try to keep that to a minimum, but today may be the most I use in the realm of PowerPoint. So let me get into the website, but I just want to go over a few housekeeping items that I go over each week before we dive in. What we're doing is we're muting everyone so you don't have to mute yourself. If you have muted yourself and you would like to ask a question later, there will be time toward the end of the session after the content to ask questions about the content we've just reviewed. But if you've muted yourself on top of us muting you, then you're going to have to unmute yourself in order to talk. So we handle the muting, don't worry about it. Just sit back and listen and watch. So as I had mentioned, we did factor in time for Q&A. Generally, it's the last 15 minutes, depending on how long the content runs. Could be a little longer, but you can ask questions in a number of ways. So if, as I'm going over the content, you have a question, you can type that in the chat. You can also type in the questions section as the session progresses. And then if you wanted to wait till the end, you can raise your hand and we will call on you to ask a question. And luckily I have colleagues on the phone with me in case I can't answer a question. They can always help me out. But we will try to get your questions answered. If they're specific to your account, sometimes if you're having issues or anything like that, we may have to reach out to you. So as long as you provided an email, we can reach out to you. I have done so over the past couple weeks and had discussions with our customers that needed to have a little bit of extra attention, and that is fantastic. We love engaging with our customers. That's the whole point of Training Tuesdays. And again, all of these sessions are being recorded, have been recorded up until this week, and they'll be available for playback on that YouTube channel that I mentioned, the SkyBitz YouTube channel, as well as in the help section here on Insight. So we'll review that toward the end, what content's in the help section. And so let's get started. What I did want to mention, actually, I'm sorry, before we start, I'll say it again, make sure I hit everyone who's logged in right now. This is the 10th week of Training Tuesdays. There will be an 11th week of Training Tuesdays we will be reviewing the SkyBitz roadmap. So that will be separate from the invitation that you've received. Received invitation up to this point goes to today and ends. There will be another session next Tuesday. Not 100% sure if that invitation went out yet or not, or if we edited the original, but again, we're going to review the SkyBitz roadmap. That is proprietary information, and we just share it with our customers. So we will do validation on, the RSVPs to that, and I believe we're doing validation prior to sending it out. And that session will not be recorded, again, because it has proprietary and confidential information that we would only like to share with our customers. So next week is an exciting session. I will not be hosting. That will be Debbie Sackman, and she will give the fantastic roadmap presentation. So I've seen it a bunch of times, and we have some exciting things on there. So without further ado, let's get into the content for this week. And again, as I had mentioned, we're going to talk about trailer pools. I'm going to be toggling back and forth between Insight as well as some PowerPoint slides, not too much, but a little bit more than I have in the past. So bear with me just in case. I think I'm good though. I'm not always great at toggling between Insight and a PowerPoint slide, but I'm going to do my best. So trailer pools. In discussing trailer pools with my customers, as I am a customer success manager and I work very closely with many companies that do business with and are partners with SkyBitz, trailer pools, first of all, are not for everyone, but for the customers that they would benefit, I don't think that everyone is utilizing the feature and the functionality. So another reason we want to hit this topic before we go into a bit of a hiatus prior to the holiday season. So trailer pools are similar to yard check, and they automate a process that used to be pretty manual, right? So with the yard checks, as we talked about last week, you're checking your yards in an electronic way now versus, I think I use Steve as an example, whoever that is, Steve, Bob, and Joe having to check their yards. You can check the yards for them. Nobody has to go out with that clipboard and pencil. In a similar way, customers who, part of their business model being trailer pools, you're setting a minimum and a maximum number of trailers that your customers are utilizing. You're not a leasing company, but your customers are utilizing your trailers for whatever reason, right? It was a manual process. So if you utilize the trailer pool section of Insight, you're then able to automate the process and make sure that you're where you should be in your trailer pool numbers, right? We'll go over how to set it up. They allow you to access, we're going to allow you to access analytics that will then help you to reduce your capital expenses by not exceeding the number of trailers needed at a facility and repositioning underutilized assets. So there are a few factors in trailer pools, a minimum number and a maximum number to a customer. And then we also throw in, which is optional, you'll see that in a minute, if they're not using the asset, meaning they're sitting idle, then you can kind of maybe have that discussion and say, well, maybe we can reduce the pool based on what your usage has been. So it allows you to automate a process that you were kind of just like, well, I hope they're using them. I hope I'm meeting the minimum or the maximum. You're able to automate this process now. So we'll review how to set up the pool, and then we'll review the data available to you once you've set the pools up. First of all, some housekeeping within Insight. If you're the admin of your account, fantastic. You need to ask for a few things from customer care that have to do with trailer pool, so enable trailer pool and the panel access. There are two sections that we're going to review today, setting up and then analyzing data over time. You have to have landmarks entered. So you need to, at least at the bare minimum, have landmarks set up in your account, which we've discussed. We did have 2 training sessions on landmarks. If you have questions on them, please reach out because, again, landmarks are key in using other features in the system. So maybe a little labor intensive to set up, but once you've done that, landmarks then become the gateway to using, say, yard checks, and as in today's content, trailer pools. You can set up groups, you can use the landmark IDs, but you have to at least have landmarks entered. And if you're a user of the system, your admin has to enable you to set up trailer pools and to get trailer pool reporting. So that's in the users section of managed settings. So again, this is something that if I kind of went off on a tangent and showed you how to set all this up, we would definitely go past the hour's worth of content. But if you need assistance with this, setting up the trailer pools access for your specific employees, for the users of your groups, please contact customer care, reach out to your success manager. We'd be happy to show you how to do it. We'd also be happy to, walk you through it as you're doing it. So those are a few things that need to be done prior to trailer pools. And let's get into it then. So let's go to manage settings. This is in the manage settings. We're talking about the how to set it up. Manage settings, trailer pool setup. If you see that and it's gray, that means you can't use it. It's in your account, but you personally as a user are not able to access it. So make sure, again, that you let your admin know, hey, I need to do trailer pool setup. I want to get into that. So that's number one. Let's go here. Okay. And I'm going to give it a second. So this is, for all intents and purposes, I have an account I use for these Training Tuesdays. We have set up, we do set up trailer pools in here, to do examples. But if your account does not have any set up yet, what you will see is like this. So you'll see all of your available landmarks here, and then you'll see your trailer pool landmark or landmarks. So if you only have one, then you would only have the one in there. It's possible to have one. You will have no data to display in here. But for my purpose, I'm going to go back to Insight so that we can then look at how to actually set them up. But this is what your account will look like if you have none set up already. You have 0 set up. So we have a bunch set up. And what you're able to do here is search by landmark name, location ID, or by landmark group. So you'll hit the radio button that applies. You can use country. We have a whole bunch of whatever countries you have in your account, states that are in your account, cities that are in your account. If you utilize landmark types, that'll also be one of your search criteria. So again, we try to accommodate, right? So if you have landmarks, great. If you have location IDs also, they would be in this section here, and landmark groups. So I'm just going to look at these that I have here, and I'm going to move one over. So as I highlight them, and I can do multi, right? So I can utilize the shift key or the control key. So if they're not in a row, I want to highlight and then hit the control key, highlight, highlight, or just like when you're using any Microsoft program, you can use the shift or the control keys to highlight multi. All right, so I'm just going to worry about this one, and I'm going to move it over. And it's fetching the data. And then what it's going to do is going to put it in this list over here. And let's go down to the bottom. So that's the one I just moved over. Now what I want to do, because I want to make sure that I set up my trailer pool minimum count and maximum count and my idle threshold days, right? So every other piece of information other than changed is filled in already based on the landmark that I selected. If it was in the landmark group, it would show me that here, but I'm concerned about these columns, right? So over here, as I have this one highlighted, my pool minimum is, what is the minimum number of assets that I should have at this customer location, or the landmark? So that's why we're utilizing landmarks, because each landmark is a customer, and we're going to allot them their, I guess you can kind of also, say contractually, my pool minimum for this customer is 4. My pool maximum for this customer is 15. And then idle threshold, so idle threshold is not required, but I think in order to get the maximum benefit from the trailer pool data, you would want to utilize this field here. So idle threshold days, I want to see if it's idle longer than 8 days, you know, they're not using it based on the business. So you know your customer's business. If you don't want to use that, you don't have to, but it is another factor once we start analyzing the data overall. It's one of the pieces that plays into the puzzle, right? So again, either you can use it or you don't have to, and then you'd hit save. All right. And it's going to show me exactly what I just did. Insight is very good at telling you if you missed something or if you did something right. So here's the pop-up that tells me, okay, this is what I just set. Are you cool with that? Hit confirm, or you could cancel if you need to change it. You can change it at any time though. So we're hitting confirm and just waiting for it to then update that the SD Embassy Inc., that is the minimum, maximum count and idle threshold for that specific customer. So it shows me now last changed 10/20/2020. All right, so when we're looking at this data, we're able to, and I just want to make sure everybody's aware, if you need to get to one of these customers in here, you can scroll through, you can search by, filter by landmark name, any of the, the headers, you can ascending or descending filter. All right. So if I needed to change that, I would come in here and highlight it, and then I would just put in the pool minimum, the pool maximum, and the idle threshold, and do exactly what I had done. Hit save, and it'll change it and update it to what I want it to be. If I want to do a one-off, I'm going to show everybody how to do multiple changes in our upload feature, but I just want to also show you that if you need to do one-offs here, you can certainly do that, and you would do that in this section. All right. So next, what we want to do, I'm going to just go over this tiny little box here with two things in it. So whomever's account you're logged into as your account. So a lot of times we do have customers that share an admin account with a couple other folks. If you really want to just kind of maintain and monitor and get reports on the trailer pool for yourself, you may want to have your own account or make sure that the account that you're using has your email in it. If I want information emailed to me, we're going to go to the scheduler next, but what I want to show you is you want to check this box. If checked, here we go, Insight giving us some information. If checked, the report will be sent to the displayed email address. If I uncheck it, there will not be a report sent. It's just you're using this to maintain the trailer pool, and maybe you're just analyzing the data in the analyze section. But the trailer pool email box has to be checked. And again, whatever email is up here in the corner is the one that will receive the email. So if we go to the scheduler, okay, it's going to say this when there's nothing set up, right? And what I mean by this is trailer pool report is not currently scheduled. So here's where you want to put that you want it to be run daily at what time. So as our database is sending out automated emails, we have many different automated emails in Insight. Time mentioned is approximate. So you should be getting the report around the time that you're requesting it. So you might want to do it a little earlier if you need to have it at a certain time. But I'm not sure daily that people are going to be adjusting trailer pools. But again, based on your business model, whatever works for you, you want to schedule this based on the time that you may need it, that it's going to be run every day. And you want it to repeat every 4 hours, 6, 8, 12, or 24. So you can really bump it up. And how many times do you want it to run a day? If it's 24, it's obviously going to run once. So if we go to 6, then we can run it a couple times a day, right? It's whatever's divisible by 24. So if I want it to repeat every 6 hours, but I want to run it twice, then I would get that information 2 times per day. And I can turn off the trailer pool at any time. And I can hit save here, and then that report will then be generated and go to the email address that we saw in that gray box. So that would come to me based on the schedule that I set up. And at that point, it'll tell me that the trailer pool report is scheduled, and I can make changes, but once I schedule it, then it'll let me know that it has been scheduled. and I can turn it off. And I would hit save at this point. All right, so I'm going to show the report then that we would see. Let me open this up. So the trailer pool report this is what you would receive. So your company's name would be here, the run date and time, and then we will see different columns in that report. So this comes in a CSV, the landmark name, and that is the customer, right? The location ID, if there is one, your asset count, the actual asset count, your min and your max, right? So those numbers that I set up when I was setting up the trailer pool for that one landmark, those are what will appear in this column, but the actual asset count is what appears in this column right here. And then idle thresholds, and then assets above idle threshold. So that's what these two columns have to do with one another. And then my status, am I below, in range, above max? So there are different statuses that I could see here, and they're based on my asset count going against my min and my max. So there are different pieces of information here on this CSV, and you can, of course, once you have the CSV, you can then do whatever you want to do with the data. You can manipulate the data however you want to. If your important data for Tuesdays is, I need to see who's utilizing their trailers, then, based on my idle thresholds, then I would take a look at assets above the thresholds. If I want to look just simply at my asset count, my min max count, and my, how many assets are in there, is probably the easiest is to look at my status here, right? So above, in range, below, these pieces of data right here that correspond with each one of the landmark names. So when you're entering your landmarks and you're thinking, I'm going to use this for trailer pool, not all of your landmarks you have to have this thought process with, but if you're considering using the trailer pool functionality, make sure that when you're naming the landmarks that they are the customer's name, what you call them, right? So that you're able to then identify them and apply the asset counts, the mins and the maxes to those customers. So your personal yards, they're not going to be a consideration probably in the trailer pool report because you have yard check for that, right? But with customers and trailers or assets being at these locations, you really want to think customer focus here on the landmark name. So you're only going to see those customers that have been included in the, the setup of the trailer pool. It's not going to be all of the landmarks in your account, but once you set them up, then this is the information that you'll then have available to you in an automated fashion, that you're able to then say, oh, this customer's not using these, or this customer's at above or below the min max counts. So you're able to make some decisions for your business based on the trailer pool report. So it's super handy. Again, if you need help with setting up the landmarks, or if you have so many landmarks that you have to import them instead of manually put each one of them in, reach out to care, reach out to your success manager if your company has one. Let us help you set this up because we do want you to then utilize the function that's within the website. So that is the trailer pool, the trailer pool report. So that's how you set up and schedule it to come to your email address. Now, when you're going to do an upload, meaning you want to make some changes on a larger scale, that's what the upload tab is for. Now, this little question mark, again, Insight's really good at, if you're clicking around and you're like, I kind of want to use trailer pools, but I'm not sure what this upload tab is for. If you haven't watched Training Tuesdays, or someone else in your organization is going to go flipping through trailer pools, if you hit a question mark when you see one, it is going to give you step-by-step instructions on the feature or the functionality or the setup section that you're in. So if you need help on this after the video is done and you're in here trying to get this stuff updated, anytime you see a question mark, just click on it. It won't hurt, it'll help. So what we're really doing here is we're doing a mass upload to update the the trailer pools setup section. So when you're in, the first step there is to click on the setup tab. That's why I wanted to show you this first, and then I have to go back to the setup tab. But then the next thing that you would do is click on this download button. The resulting file, now this is in the help section, and I'm not, reinventing the wheel. The resulting file contains the trailer pools that are already configured at the top of the file. So this can be determined by the trailer pools having an entry in at least one of the following columns: min count, max count, or idle threshold, right? So it's these right here, right? And landmark entries do not have any entries in the min, max, or the idle threshold fields, are the ones that you didn't put anything in them for. So the only fields that should be modified once you hit download, so I'll just do it so we can take a look at it. The only fields that should be modified are the min. Let's go here. And let's go save. And we'll just look at this. Real quick, I'll pull it up to the screen. So the only fields that should be modified are min, max, or idle threshold, right? So you have min, max, idle threshold. These three columns right here are the only ones that you're going to modify. And you can add, for a landmark to be configured as a trailer pool, one or more of the fields must have an entry. If you leave something 0, the field will be set to 0 for minimum, and for maximum, it would be set to 5 nines. So you'll see that here a bunch of places. You're able to put in the idle threshold days for a trailer. If it's blank, it will not be evaluated. So it would just have a 0 in it. And you can remove trailer pools. You can remove the min max count if it's in here. Remove it from this section. And then you would hit save and make your changes to your file. And then you would come in here to upload. So once you make your changes to the file, you would choose that file from your desktop. And then you want to find that file that you just saved. And then once you hit that file, then you'll hit next. And then the file will be accepted for upload. And then there will be a save button at that point. So that's how you're able to do mass changes, updates, adds to the trailer pool setup. So that makes that process go a little bit more smoothly if you have a lot to do. 1-offs, 2-offs, depending on what your time range is for working on the system, you can then do those 1-off, but manually. But you always will have that upload functionality in order to make things go a little bit more speedy. So the customer's information that I was looking at on the slide, they have a large number of trailer pools that they're set up, so they make their modifications via this upload tab. So that is how you set up the trailer pool, the notification, the email, just to go over that one more time. So this is the trailer pool report. This is what you get, and this is what you're able to then look at the data, and it is what it is. So you're looking at the asset count, min and max counts that you set up for your customers. Also looking at assets above threshold, and that would be the idle threshold in days. And then the status column reflects the asset count, min versus max. So that's how you set it up and then start to analyze the actual data. We do have an ability to show you trending data. So what I'll do here is just going to go to back into Insight. We do have trending data available to you. So trending data is data over time versus that report that we looked at. You can get the report type style information in that trends section, but first your admin must request the trends panel access from customer care. So they have to request that, number one. Then the admin can select which users are then able to go into analyze assets, trends, and my dashboard. So the section My Dashboard is where these will be set up. I don't have data here, but I'm just going to show everyone you can set up your panels. So once your admin has said, hey, Care, can I get access to the panels? I'm going to use the trailer pools. You're then able to, as the admin, grant permission to your users to set up the panels in the Analyze Assets, Trends, My Dashboard section. And I set it up already, but I'll show you how it looks when you're going to set up a new panel. So let's add a tab, and I have access to only trailer pool panels, right? So I clicked on that new tab, and I want all of these, they all have to do with trailer pool. I want to look at my trends, I want to look at my health heat map, I want to look at my scorecard, and I want to look at my data. So the data being similar to that report I had showed you. If you don't want to look at all of them, you don't have to, just add the ones that you want. And sorry about all the scrolling, it seems to have a mind of its own. Hit done, and then it will set up your panels. Again, these will not have data in them, I apologize. We're going to go back to the PowerPoint. Just want to show you how to do this. You can then also rename the tab. You can do a few things here, add more panels, change the layout of these, rename the tab, which I would do trailer pools. Just make sure you remove the word new tab. And then once you click off, it'll then give you the name. And you're also able to remove the tab if you don't need it anymore. So we do have other items in the panels, but I want to really just hone in on the trailer pool panels. But I think highly underutilized section is the Analyze Assets. I'm so sorry, Trends, My Dashboard. So if you want to speak with a care representative or a success manager on comprehensive list of the panels that you can work with here in this section, there are more. Again, I want to go over trailer pools, but click around in here, see what you have. You may have some stuff available, not sure based on your account, but take a look at trends in the My Dashboard section. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is review the slides. Okay. So analyzing the trailer pool data over time versus just looking at the report. The trends dashboard. So this is, there are different ways of looking at this, and just to make sure everybody's aware, we do have date ranges up here. This is what it defaults to at this point, but when we're looking at this, I just wanted to show you the full picture, but you can put different dates in for different reasons that you're using the panels. But the trailer pool scorecard has a bunch of different information here, right? So I've resorted it or filtered it in different ways. But when I first go in here, I'm looking at the state or country. The country will be included: United States, Mexico, whatever, Canada. Number of pools in that state, number of trailers, and it's giving you the different dates. We're looking at a trend line here. The month that there are 8 trend lines here. So we're looking at trends of this data overall over time. Number of trailers that are not reporting. So if there are any trailers within that trailer pool that aren't reporting in that state, it'll give you that number here. Percentage of pools above and below minimum. So we set the max and we set the minimum. What's the percent of in Georgia, what is the percentage of pools that are above that max or percentage of pools that are below that minimum? So it's going to show you trending data here. And then percent of healthy pools, right? So it's giving you information on the healthy pools as well. So you want to look at anything that's above, anything that's below, and percentage of healthy pools that we're trending the data on in the trailer pools in the state of Georgia. You can sort by any of these. I just sorted here by state. So I then looked at Wisconsin, and that came up to the top because I sorted in descending or ascending, sorry. And then number of pools, same information as here, it's just for different states. And over here, I sorted for number of pools. So I went top down at my highest was Georgia, and then descending downward. And then you are able to, when you're live on your own dashboard, look at information as you need to look at it, you can then export it to PDF. So if you start utilizing trailer pools, I'd say come into the panels, see what data seems useful to you. You can export it and take a look at it later. You don't just have to sit there staring at the website all the time, but it's really helpful to get in here and start looking at the data for your specific trailer pools. And then the trailer pool and health heat map. So as I look down at the panels, here's my next panel. So this customer that allowed us to utilize their data, when I click on a state, so I clicked on Arkansas here, and what it's then going to do is pull out, and it's pretty much the data that we just saw represented, but now it's represented in a heat map fashion. So percentage of, pools above the maximum, pools below the minimum, and pools that are healthy, it's giving you the exact count here. And then as we're looking at states, green is giving you, the better health states, right? So the ones that are showing your pools are healthiest are your green states. And then we start to get into red, meaning those are the pools that are not as healthy, right? So there's different data within the different states, and you can then actually hover over them and see numbers that are represented within each of the states, which again, I apologize, I can't do at this point just because of the nature of the data changing, and my demo site is not 100% up on that information. So I just wanted to at least let everybody see what the heat maps look like. This is an active customer. And then the trailer pool data, which is similar to the data that we had looked at in that report that resulted in setting up the trailer pools and the email that comes out. You'll get the trailer pool data, and then you're able to look here specifically at minimum trailers, maximum trailers, and the actual number of trailers, what the health status is. So here, if we're looking at this top line, we are looking at a minimum of 4 trailers, a maximum of 5, and they're at 2, so they're below minimum. Right here, we have a 2 minimum, and I know I'm going over the obvious. I just want to make sure everybody sees the maximum is 5, and they have 3, so that's a healthy trailer pool status. And we have all of the health statuses right here. You're able to filter here. And I wanted to make sure that you could see once you filter rows by cell values here in this little settings area, you can sort, filter, group, do aggregate and format and hide columns. You can do all kinds of stuff here, but lucky enough, you can also export it to Excel or export it to a PDF. And once you export it to Excel, of course, you can manipulate the data however you want. This is a 22 pages of information. So you may want to actually just export that to Excel so you can then take a better look at it. And then this is a pretty standard dashboard here. This is also another place where you can hover and see numbers, and again, I apologize, but when I look at the trailer pool health overview and trends. So I'm looking here specifically at each of the groups, which are pools above and below, and then healthy pools. And then I also can see it on a health status trend report. So we're always going to equal up to 100%. So 40% of this customer's pools are healthy. About 40% of this customer pools are below the minimum, which leaves 20% that are above maximum. So, as a user of the system, would I look at this and be happy with it or not? Or what I really can drill into the individual data, right, into the individual customers and see what's going on, and then try to swing this in more of a favorable way in percent of healthy pools, right? So I'm going to really look at who's below the minimum. Just depending on your business and what you tend to do, either you're above or below. You have too many trailers out at a customer, you have not enough. You want to keep your eyes on these numbers here. And when you're looking at a trending dashboard, the good news is, it's trending, right? So then I can just kind of dive into that data and filter out, pools that are below the minimum. I really want to dig into that data. So that report that I showed, the one that's up here, sorry to scroll around, but the ones that are below, I really want to take a look at, because that seems to be where my issues are. So you don't always have to dig into the data. I'm going to scroll back down. But when you're looking at this dashboard, you may want to, because this number here seems a little bit high and I kind of want to swing it over to my percent of healthy. And then over time, again, we're looking at information. There's not much of a change here from October 7th to October 17th. So in 10 days, there haven't really been much, move here, other than this one section here where the below minimum was a little bit over 40%. It continues to kind of stay in that trend, but I think this is helpful. Again, where do I need to take a look? I need to take a look at below minimum. So if I just, can look at that report again and then and start filtering report data in Excel. These are exportable to PDF, but because it is a trending panel, I don't necessarily know that everybody's going to want to do that, but you can. So, you can certainly have it as a takeaway if you're going to a meeting right away. Let's go back into Insight. All right, so I'll go back to Analyze Assets, Trends. Oh, I'm in here. So in the this is where all this information was. Again, Analyze Assets, Trends, and my dashboard. That's where all this data would then be presented to you. And again, here's where you can change the date ranges. So I recommend you do that. You can look at dates. You can go back in the past and look at analyzing the data over time versus that static report that's giving you what's going on right now. All right, so that was how to set up trailer pools and how to utilize the data of trailer pools in, just the hard data fashion, or hey, it is what it is, or looking at those panels like I had showed you on the PowerPoint. You're able to then, trend, maybe not have to look at the day-to-day so much. When you're looking at those panels, you're able to then dig into the pieces of data that you want to dig into. Maybe you're spreading them out too far, you're spreading out the assets too thin. Either way, you have all of that information at your fingertips when you're utilizing Insight to automate a process that maybe you're manually still doing. So trailer pools do not apply to everybody, but the ones, the customers that are on the call that this does apply to, I hope you start to utilize it. Again, you have to set up landmarks. You need to make sure your users are set up to view and work on the trailer pools, and that your account is set up to get these panels. Our care reps, success managers are able to help you out with that, so that you are set up for success and that you're able to dive into trailer pools and start utilizing this feature. Again, I think it is underutilized, and I really hope that some customers go back and start working on trailer pools, setting up landmarks, working on trailer pools, to be more efficient and utilize technology to help you with that efficiency. So that's trailer pools. As far as what I like to go over in each session, we will talk about, let's go to locate assets in the asset list. Okay, so there are two things I want to go over and make sure everybody's aware of and uses. One is the help section, right? So the help section is always defaults to this section right here. You can move this guy around, pick him up and drag him wherever it's blue. Once you log out and back in though, he's going to go back to his original spot. So if it's not in your way, you can just leave him right there. Otherwise, you have a couple spots on the border of the browser where you can put this help guy. Click on help. Training Tuesday's registration is in here. As far as next week's, I'm not sure about that, but maybe somebody can help me in a minute with that answer. But we have installation and troubleshooting guides. Every device that we have is in here, how to troubleshoot it, how to install it, PDFs for your assistance, as well as the mobile app, how to use the mobile app. And if you need a mobile app login, that is not the same as the Insight login. That is a different login that you'd have to acquire through your customer care or through your customer success manager. Release information, any changes or updates we've made to Insight user interface, The Training Tuesdays videos are right here, all the way up to last week. This one will be on shortly, as soon as it's released on YouTube. Any of our older training videos or webinar videos are on here as well. Okay, I'll close that up. And then we do have a resources center that actually kind of puts the troubleshooting guides front and center. If you need those installation guides, information on the hardware, that's what goes on in the resource center, but it also has the help information. Now I also want to show you, it says show me how. Show me how will appear anywhere that we have, we felt the need to explain to our users what this section is all about. The locate assets, asset view, or asset list section is newer to Insight. It's not brand new, it's over a year, but I don't know that everybody's using it, right? So it's fantastic, but how do I know how to use it? Well, I'm not gonna go over it all right now, so you can go into show me how. And anytime you see this, what it'll do is it'll welcome you to the section. It'll tell you how many steps are available to you in this tutorial. It's a tutorial that you can kind of set your own pace on. Once you read it, you want to hit next, or it'll ask you to do something. So when you're ready, you would click submit. And it tells you, just like I always do, to look out for any question marks, because they actually do. Our engineers have actually put information on the question marks. It's fantastic. You see them, click them. You need help with something and you see a question mark, click on it. This show me how walks you through sections of the website. So when you see it, just give it a click and follow the steps. So we are down to 11 minutes. I talked a little longer than I wanted, but I would like to open up for questions. So anyone who has one can raise their hand. We can unmute you as long as you haven't muted yourself.
Thanks, Sarah. Not seeing questions as of yet.
Right, me either. Ira, maybe you can let us all know about next week's invitation. I wasn't sure if it went out yet or not.
Yeah, so next week. So next week is going to be a little bit different than what we've been doing in the past. So next week you'll have a invite that will come out probably the next day or so. The registration is going to be an approved registration, and the session will not be recorded because of the sensitivity of the data. So next week, Debbie Sackman will be presenting the SkyBitz roadmap for those in attendance. So certainly urge you guys to register when that comes out. If you currently register with a Gmail account, I would urge you to register with your company domain account, email account. If that is a Gmail, that's fine. Just if you shoot me a note and let me know, because each one will be reviewed just based on the sensitivity of the material. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. My email is all over the invites you've gotten for the last 9 weeks. Or, Sarah can give it to you as well. So I don't see any questions, Sarah, so I'll throw it back to you.
I don't either. Thank you so much, Ira. So as for next week, that's the information on the roadmap presentation, which I, again, strongly recommend you attend. We have a lot going on and a lot of wonderful updates to provide to everybody. And we want to thank you for attending our session today and all of the sessions up to this point. They're about our customers. You're our partners, and helping you leverage the powerful tools provided to you via the Insight website is really the goal here. If you have any recommendations, because we will come back with more Training Tuesdays after the session next week, we will go on a little bit of a vacation until early next year, then we're going to resume. So if we have anything from the audience, recommendations or ideas for future session content, let us know, and we would be happy to put that together for you. So we thank you for joining us on these Training Tuesdays for the past 10 weeks. It's been a great experience for all of us, and we hope for you as well. So thank you, everybody.